Hey YouTube, Simon Dixon here, and today I'm going to be releasing a video that my hope is that one day this gets to the right people at the right time in the leadership in Ukraine. Because right now I understand your full focus is you're in survival mode. I am very sensitive towards the horrific crimes, destruction, death, and all sorts of stuff that are happening in your country right now, and also making people aware that is also happening in other countries as well and getting less spotlight. So this does bring our attention to something that has been happening, and even to much worse degrees in other countries that don't necessarily have oil involved in them, and therefore doesn't necessarily get the spotlight and attention due to these geopolitical warfares. Okay, so with that said, this message is that I believe that after and beyond the war, you are going to be faced with three choices for the finance minister and the leadership in Ukraine. And I want to go through those three choices, and with the hope that you pick a better choice. Because if there is one belief that I hold, is that when times are bad, low, and even you're fighting for survival. I haven't been in such situations. I can't even claim to empathize with the situation that you're going through right now. But what I do know is that from all destruction and hardship comes the opportunity to either allow that to destroy you or allow that to build back bigger, better, and and a better alternative. And so if this experience allows Ukraine to build back something completely different, then hopefully there would be some kind of compensation for the horrific experiences that the country has gone through. And so with that in mind, I'd like to think beyond the war and the three choices. If you hadn't watched my emergency broadcast yesterday, then pencil out 1 hour, put it in your calendar, give yourself some time. I think you'll find it very, very important on building and protecting your wealth. Thinking a few chess pieces ahead. You may agree, you may completely disagree with some of the things, but please use it in order to serve yourself and make some better moves and build and protect your wealth and protect yourself financially so that you can be a force for good for others that may need your help in these troubling times, because because of these weapons of mass destruction have caused financial weapons of mass destructions to destroy the wealth of so many. And so my hope is that from these three choices, Ukraine can take these weapons of mass destruction that have destroyed so much, and these financial weapons of mass destruction that are also going to destroy so much into the future, and launch some financial weapons of mass possibility, mass sovereignty, and mass choice. And so these are the choices that I would like to share. So Ukraine, after this, when your headspace is right and you're in the time, hopefully social media gets this video in front of you, and I want you to know that there are choices. First choice number one will be to take predatory loans from economic hitmen at the International Monetary Fund and get yourself in US dollar debt slavery. You're going to need a lot of financing in order to rebuild, and everybody that took those IMF loans, just study history, follow the money. What tends to happen is you get an IMF loan, it comes with tied conditions. The money is created through the dollar system, and it tends to make its way back to America through tied loans and conditions, and therefore you end up crippled with the debt and all the money back in America as well. It is the way the system was designed, and it is what the International Monetary Fund was designed for. The other option in the same choice is that you will be pushing to get into Europe, and Europe comes with this condition of being at the mercy of the European Central Bank. The ECB will be moving interest rates in line with whatever they think their agenda is for Europe, and will be quantitative easing and issuing infrastructure bonds and all sorts of stuff that will be not necessarily right for your country, and you'll be at the mercy of the European Central Bank. They may do you right, they may do you wrong, who knows? but you have essentially given away your sovereignty to the International Monetary Fund and the central banks and the ECB, and you have followed the path that everyone else followed after rebuilding, and it did not end pretty for many of those countries. And so it will drive more wealth inequality. Some will do incredibly well, others will do really badly, and you will build a whole economy on a debt-based Ponzi scheme that is inevitable, predictable, and guaranteed to lend to either fail if they follow free markets, or lead to more control and less sovereignty through central bank digital currencies. That's choice number one. And I understand when you're in these situations, you have to take the money that's available to you. But I'd like to let you know that there are two choices. Choice number two, $60 million at the time of this recording has been contributed from the cryptocurrency industry to Ukraine. Ukraine legalized Bitcoin prior to the war, and $60 million has been contributed, and I'm sure that number will be a lot more into the future. However, just like central banks, some of those cryptocurrencies will come with tied conditions. And those tied conditions will be someone's agenda, some developer, someone claiming to be decentralized, some company, whatever it may be, will print up some money, print up some cryptocurrency. And if it gets a network effect and a speculative effect of everyone saying this is going to be bigger, faster, better, cheaper than Bitcoin, but it does not replicate many of the properties that makes Bitcoin more commodity-like without being tied to any agenda. And so you will be tying yourself when you take that money, and if you rebuild your economy based upon some of these systems, to the agenda of whoever pre-mined that coin, whoever printed that coin, whatever company it is, and it is very similar to central banking, tied agenda. So that's option number two, and you will get lots of shitcoin people and altcoin people pitching you all the opportunities of airdropping and all sorts of stuff, and it may provide some temporary help and measures, and you may get on the right side of speculation, but have it be known it is speculation, and you cannot rebuild based upon speculation alone. So first choice is debt alone. Second choice, speculation alone. My agenda is to maybe give you a third choice. And the third choice, and by the way, you can pick all three if you choose, but the third one is what I think that at least a part of the redevelopment should consider. And that is to give yourself sovereignty and independence from central banks and from any altcoin agendas. And that is to think about a percentage of your Bitcoin strategy. Bitcoin does not have an agenda. It has no geopolitics. It is just simply maths and code that is designed to allow people to own their own money, spend their own money, and have a fixed supply that cannot be changed no matter what company, no matter who tries to print some more or anything. Now, there is a model for this. You don't need to be the first to do it. El Salvador has already shown the way, and it has produced double-digit growth, and it is leading to infrastructure funding. The steps are that you make Bitcoin legal tender so that those and companies and individuals can convert it. If you adopt the euro, fine. These fiat currencies are useful for median of exchange and unit account short term, but they're disastrous for people's savings. And so the make Bitcoin legal tender so that people can choose, give financial applications that make it easy to convert between fiat and Bitcoin, so that companies and individuals can rebuild that, and then a buoyant financial system based upon wealth and delaying of gratification, and more of an equity-based system as opposed to a debt-based system can prevail. Now, I'm not saying you bet your whole country on it. I'm just saying every country, and if you're faced with an opportunity to redevelop your country, should be thinking with new thinking in mind. And then you can fund infrastructure bonds based upon digital hard sound money so that there's no tied agenda. The Tide agenda is literally the maths and code that can be read into the future, understood into the future, that is backed by proof of work, which is statistically and virtually impossible to be changed by any one agenda. So it is digital, hard, sound money, and infrastructure bonds based upon Bitcoin are completely being trialed out and developed right now. So my hope is just to tease enough that there is a third alternative and the opportunity to give your individual sovereignty, your company sovereignty, and your country sovereignty. You have three choices. You can give your freedom and your sovereignty to foreign central banks or economic hitmen like the International Monetary Fund. You can give your sovereignty and you drive into a debt-based Ponzi scheme. You can give your sovereignty to some altcoin agenda that will drive a massive, irresponsible, speculative frenzy within your country. Or you can choose digital, hard, sound money as part of your redevelopment. And if you are getting this video at the right time and you're in the right place, then my hope is that you reach out and we can, the Bitcoin community, and I've been helping countries for many years trying to appreciate the opportunity that digital, hard, sound money offers. And so when the time is right, do please reach out. And I'll also try and make sure that my new book that I'm frantically writing as fast as possible gets in the hands of the right people. So social media, I know that Ukraine are focused on survival right now, and this is probably not front of mind, but when the time is right, please help support get this in front of the right people so that you can use these unthinkable situations, this death and this destruction, to at least build back bigger, better, stronger, and take those horrific weapons of mass destruction that led to horrific financial weapons of mass destruction, and maybe build some financial weapons of mass creation, mass sovereignty, and mass freedom for the Ukrainian people, the Ukrainian companies, the Ukrainian country, and independence from some of the central bank debt-based Ponzi schemes and alternative agendas that may not have your best interest in mind. Let's rebuild. The world is, you have the world's attention, and also making sure that some of this attention gets to the countries that just aren't getting the media time, aren't getting the support for their refugees, aren't getting the attention because they may not have the right financial setup, and they're not getting the media attention, but they're in just as bad, if not worse, situations. And so hopefully they can learn from this, because the spotlight is on Ukraine right now. So let's use this spotlight in the redevelopment phase, once it comes, once it's ready, once it's beyond survival, to show the world and show other countries what is possible as a result of these three choices. And that I look forward to supporting that. Always remember, Ukraine, you may not be able to see it right now, but you are alive at one of the most interesting and exciting times in financial history. And I'm sorry that weapons of mass destruction and financial weapons of mass destruction are being used to take away your freedoms. But once you're on the other side of that, I want to make sure that you're on the right side of the change, and we can do it with peace, love, unity, and sovereignty for individuals, sovereignty for companies, and sovereignty for your countries. Can't wait to support in building a better future. Peace.